Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to look closely at one of the most talked about and dramatic headlines in recent weeks, the claim that NATO was shocked as Russian nuclear submarines managed to surround the USS Gerald R, the most advanced aircraft carrier in the American fleet. Rather than just focusing on the political angle, this video will break down the topic as if it were a full review, looking at the carrier and the submarines in terms of exterior design, interior layout, performance, safety features, unique qualities, cost, and finally drawing a conclusion about what this event means in the broader context of modern naval power. When it comes to exterior design, the USS Gerald R is truly one of the most striking and imposing machines ever built by humans. Measuring more than 1,100 feet long, the vessel is larger than many small towns. The flight deck itself is massive, offering space for over 75 aircraft to operate in a coordinated and constant flow of takeoffs and landings. The island superstructure on the deck, the command tower that gives the ship its iconic silhouette, has been redesigned compared to earlier carriers. It is more compact, moved slightly aft, and gives crews better lines of sight while also leaving more usable space for aircraft on deck. The entire ship radiates a sense of strength and cutting-edge design, a floating airbase meant to project American power anywhere on the globe. In contrast, the exterior appearance of Russian nuclear submarines is almost the opposite philosophy. They are long, sleek, and built for invisibility rather than intimidation. They stay hidden beneath the surface, their dark hulls designed to minimize sonar reflections, and their entire profile shaped to glide silently through the depths. Seeing such different philosophies meet, a massive carrier on the surface and multiple silent hunters below, creates the exact kind of tension that explains why this story drew so much attention. Inside the Gerald R, the improvements are less visible but equally important. The interior has been designed with the crew's comfort and efficiency in mind. Living quarters are more modern, workspaces are updated, and advanced computer systems automate many processes that used to require larger crews. This allows the ship to operate with fewer sailors than its predecessors, reducing stress and improving overall efficiency. The focus has been on making the interior more livable and technologically streamlined, so that thousands of sailors can work, eat, rest, and continue operations in a space that functions like a self-contained city at sea. Performance is where the Gerald R begins to separate itself from every carrier that came before it. At its heart are two next-generation nuclear reactors that give it essentially unlimited range. These reactors are not only powerful enough to propel the ship for decades without refueling, they also produce surplus electricity to power new systems and future weapons that are still being tested, such as directed energy lasers or electromagnetic railguns. One of the most talked about upgrades is the electromagnetic aircraft launch system, which replaces the traditional steam catapults used to launch jets from the deck. This system accelerates aircraft more smoothly, reduces wear and tear, and allows for faster operations. Altogether, these performance improvements mean the Gerald R can launch more sorties per day than any other carrier, maintaining air superiority over vast regions of ocean. Russian nuclear submarines, however, excel in their own category of performance. They can remain submerged for months at a time, powered by their own nuclear reactors. Their silence, advanced sonar systems, and deep diving capabilities make them very difficult to track. Some carry cruise missiles capable of striking targets hundreds of miles away, while others carry nuclear ballistic missiles with global reach. Their true performance advantage lies in their stealth. While the Gerald R is a giant beacon of power that everyone can see, the submarines are shadows that no one can easily detect until it is too late. Safety features are essential on a vessel as valuable as the Gerald R, and the carrier has multiple layers of defense. Its advanced radar systems can track aircraft and missiles at great distances, while interceptor missiles and electronic warfare systems can defend against aerial threats. Close-in weapon systems, often described as the ship's last line of defense, are rapid-firing cannons that can shred incoming missiles or aircraft. The ship also operates with a protective escort group, including destroyers and cruisers that provide anti-submarine and anti-missile coverage. Despite these measures, the presence of nuclear submarines nearby raises the stakes considerably, because subs represent a form of threat that cannot be easily countered with radar or missiles. A single submarine in striking range can create enormous pressure, even without firing a shot, which explains why NATO observers reacted with alarm to the claim that Russian boats had moved so close. Looking at unique selling points, the Gerald IV distinguishes itself as the most advanced mobile airbase in history. Its ability to deploy dozens of fighter jets, surveillance planes, and helicopters anywhere in the world gives the United States unrivaled power projection. Its efficiency improvements mean fewer crew are needed to operate a larger and more capable platform, a remarkable achievement in naval engineering. Its nuclear power systems also ensure that it can remain at sea indefinitely, only limited by the supplies for the crew and aircraft. Russian nuclear submarines, meanwhile, hold their own unique advantage. They are among the most difficult weapons to detect, making them credible deterrents against even the largest surface vessels. Their very existence means no navy can operate without considering the invisible threat below. Unlike the carrier, which projects visible dominance, the submarines project psychological power through uncertainty and stealth. Price is where the story becomes even more dramatic. The USS Gerald R has earned the title of the most expensive warship ever constructed, with a price tag of around $13 billion, and that figure does not even include the cost of the aircraft that make up its full air wing. Maintaining and operating the vessel for decades will add tens of billions more to its lifetime cost. Russian nuclear submarines are also expensive, with costs running into the billions per vessel depending on the class, but they are still far less costly than a supercarrier. The comparison reveals a striking imbalance. A weapon that costs a fraction of a carrier's price has the potential to threaten or even neutralize it, which raises important questions about value, strategy, and the changing face of naval warfare. All of this brings us to the conclusion. The USS Gerald R represents the peak of visible surface naval power, a technological marvel that embodies the American approach to projecting strength and dominance across the seas. Russian nuclear submarines represent the opposite approach, favoring stealth, patience, and deterrence. The encounter between these two philosophies demonstrates that modern warfare is not just about who builds the largest or most expensive vessel, but about how different technologies interact and challenge each other. The story of submarines surrounding a supercarrier, whether interpreted as a show of strength, a message, or a warning, underlines the reality that power at sea is constantly contested between visibility and invisibility, between size and stealth, between cost and efficiency. It is a reminder to NATO, the United States, Russia, and the rest of the world that no matter how advanced a ship may be, it is never invulnerable. The balance of power on the oceans continues to shift, and events like this one highlight just how delicate and dangerous that balance can be. Thank you for watching and following along with this deep dive into the topic. If you found this breakdown useful and want more detailed reviews of military technology, strategy, and global defense developments, make sure to subscribe, share, and stay tuned for our next video.